But Jeffrey, I think that's all you really had in terms of life updates and stuff like that. You
Yep,
did text me early last week at one point because there was something your wife was doing that made you laugh, and then because of that made you think of a question.
yeah,
So first you have to tell the backstory to the question before we get to the actual question
that's
itself.
fair. That's 100% fair. So I'm. This is. It was last week, literally 20 minutes after we podcasted last week. I'm sitting on the couch or I'm like getting ready to come downstairs and everything, and I see Danny. She's doing some work on her laptop, just hanging out on the couch, and she's doing something for work, and I just randomly noticed she's counting something like out loud. You like how some people are like, oh, like one, two, three, that kind of thing, just to keep track of everything, how we don't lose it in
That
your
is how
head.
counting works, yes.
Yeah, oh, thank you. Check this. And so she starts counting, and she's one, two, three. But as she's counting, I couldn't help but notice she was literally pointing on the screen like this. She goes one, two, three, four, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, I'm confused, and I'm like, and she's looking, she's like, what? I'm like, this is gonna sound odd, but one, I actually never, I don't think I've ever seen anyone count like actually physically count one, two, three, four, five on their computer like that, like with their finger pointing things out. And then that got me thinking. I'm like, I start cracking up. I immediately texted you. I was like, hey, absolute random question in the hour. When you're counting on your laptop while counting something on your screen, do you use the mouse or do you use your finger to count? Like actually one, two,
Hmm.
three, four, or do you use the mouse to point it out on the screen? And in her defense, she was not actually counting something like out loud, like actual counting wise. I forget what exactly was she had a. I think she had to like see how many total reports or something like that she had, but it was not like your regular counting. Like like here's like 20 items and everything, just checking them off. Like she had to double check something else, but it got me thinking now. I'm like, when you're counting,
On a
do
computer.
you, on a computer, do you actually point it out with your actual finger or do you use the mouse?
So for me, I use the mouse. Like I use
Yeah.
the little cursor on your screen just to count. And sometimes it's not the most accurate. So like if it's like
No.
really like tight, like things that you count, it's like God damn, I have to go back because they
Yeah.
just they end up having to count it like three times, which is like
Yeah.
they're
And
like,
then you have
wait,
to
did I
go
count that
back.
number
Yeah.
already? It's like God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I think it's safe to say most people probably count with the mouse cursor. I
Yeah,
think
because
you're
I feel
right
like you
about
also get
that.
a little close. You also I feel like until you're like your finger, you get a little closer to what you're
Yeah.
like counting at.
Right. That's it. Especially if it's like really close together, you can't really point and they're like,
Yeah.
hey, one, two, is that
Or I
three
guess
or is
there
that
is
four?
technically a third option, and you don't use either, and you're just that good at counting that you can just use your eyes and not need a cursor.
Yeah,
But I'm not
that's
that,
true
so
too. I'm not. We're not that smart. We're underachievers for a reason.
hmm no, like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
would. So you're the same way. You just use a cursor, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
100% music cursor and everything, and it was so funny in the
Was
moment.
it
I
just in
just
that
hear
moment she was counting like that, or is that how she
yes.
would normally?
I'm
Okay.
almost certain in that moment because then I that was the first time I truly was like aware of like what
Noticed.
she was
Yeah.
doing and noticed. Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm doing work, and then I'm just sitting there, more I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm like, why are you counting like that? And I'm just like, this is weird. And I just started cracking up though to myself. I immediately was just started losing. It was like, oh my god, I gotta text Whitmer because this is too perfect and too stupid of a question to ask, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
We're gonna ask it anyways, because I'm pretty sure there's got to be at least 90% of the people who are using the cursor.
Exactly. But I had to bring it up and I had to mention it. We had to talk about it as the
But I'm
question
sure
of the hour.
again, I'm
There
sure
has to be
there's
one person out
that
there, at
uses like
least
the
one
yeah.
person, that uses their actual physical finger to point things out on the computer screen. If you're that person,
If
mission comment below.
if I had to guess, it's probably gonna be an older person, just because
Well,
they're
that's
used
yeah,
as older as like older than us, like
yeah,
probably middle age, or a little older,
yeah.
just because maybe eye wise, because then they would need a bigger like font or whatever.
Let me
Anyways,
rephrase it then into another question: is there anyone that is around our age or
Oh, yeah. Okay.
young-ish that points out with their fingers at the cursor. Highly doubt it, but you never know. Some people do have old school tendencies
Yes.
for things where I could
Sure.
see them go 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of using the mouse. But yeah, no, I'm sure that's the exception. Is an older generation is
They're
people.
just used to just kind of with their hands or something. Or maybe they're the
Yes,
one
correct.
generation that does it with their eyes because,
Yeah, good. Or you could just be like Tommy and just just. I'm sure knowing Tommy, he could probably do it. He's smart enough.
we'll have to ask him. We have to get both of them
Yeah,
on, Matt and Tommy.
that actually, and then this is the perfect kind of stupid question to ask them both because Tommy's the one who usually asks these kind of questions, and then Matt and I and everyone else get them. And we're like, oh my god.